Gabriel, welcome to, well, it's Dragoncast. So let me a bit of explanation. We're called Dragoncast because we started talking about House of the Dragon and Thrones and stuff like that. Then we ended up doing a bit of this, that, and the other. And then you came along into our lives, and we couldn't help but become Lastcast. So every now and then we dip into the Last of Us universe, and really delighted to have you on board. How are you?
I feel great. I'm happy to be on Dragoncast. It's good company, you know, in that 8, 9, 10 million viewers a night kind of company. So that's good.
Tell me about it. I mean, you guys must be stoked. I mean, we spoke to Craig before the first episode had aired, or I think 2 hours after the premiere had gone out. So the figures hadn't really come in yet. And he was already kind of like crazy happy with the kind of critical response and stuff like that. But the numbers for the premiere were just, everyone was like, oh my God, this is huge. And I think like episode 8 had 70% more than the premiere. That is, it's kind of like a phenomenon, right?
You know, I'm not in the analytics department over there, so I'm not sure exactly how good it is, but I feel like it's pretty good. And
Mate,
I do remember being there at the premiere party, the after party, and Craig and Neil sitting on one of the couches, and right at midnight, reviews started rolling in, and there Neil was, just sitting in silence, a big smirk on his face, so happy, and deservingly so.
Good feeling. Good feeling. I mean, there must be a lot of fruit baskets going around at the moment. Everyone must be in a buoyant mood. Like,
yeah, no, you know, I think most of us realize the task we have ahead of us with season 2, and not only to do the game justice, but to follow what we've done here with the first season. So I think we're not really in the I think everybody's kind of in that forward-driven, you know, looking ahead on the horizon kind of mode, which is good, which is a good place to be.
When did you first watch the finale? Was it a while back? Did you see it? Have you seen it in all its full
I haven't seen it.
glory?
I haven't. No.
You've not seen it yet? You know, you must have read the script though, right?
I have. And I've played the game, so I know how everything kind of plays out. But no, I elected. They sent me the screeners, and I just elected to watch it along with the rest of the world. And we're actually, I'm going to Austin for South by Southwest to do a panel for the show, and then my family's doing a bit of a watch party for the finale. So
amazing.
I'll get to sit with my mom and the rest of my family and friends.
That's probably the best way of doing it, because I remember, because I binged my way. I absolutely, like, within 2 days, I'd done the whole lot. Done that, like, I got sent the screeners. I couldn't stop myself, and I was annoyed because I kind of like, it was like eating a really tasty cake. At the end of it, you're just like, I wish I'd savored it a bit more. But also, like, it wasn't quite finished yet. So like I think the giraffe was like a guy in a green morph suit holding a tennis ball, things like that. So I've been really glad to go back and rewatch it, and I think it's a series that really warrants the rewatch, and that's why it's so similar to the game. I think there's all the subtleties in terms of, especially the relationship between Joel and Ellie, that you can't just you can't do 3 episodes on the bounce and get as much out of it as you should. Do you know what I mean? Does that make sense?
No, absolutely. And you know, I'm also curious what the binge experience is with this show, because I remember playing the game and not being able to just, you know, smash right through it because of the nature of you know, just because how dense it was emotionally, and how you know, how heart-wrenching it could be in moments. So I know that I've followed along on Twitter and Instagram, whatever it is, and there's this sentiment among the fans, just like, please just give me a few extra days to recover between each episode. You know, I can't jump back in yet. My heart needs to repair itself.
What I found really surprising is that even people that played the game, even people that know how part 2 ends, are still coming away after like an hour's worth of television feeling like they've been hit by a bus. It's kind of like, which is extraordinary, really, given that you kind of, you know, things like, I guess like Bill and Frank was probably a turning point. Do you like my T-shirt?
Oh, what a great shirt. I love it. Yeah, I was going to make mention. What a
Rest
great
in peace,
shirt.
Kings.
That's right.
I think that was probably a turning point of the series, wasn't it? Where I think, especially for people that hadn't played the game, because it just kind of like came out of nowhere, and it was like, oh, holy shit, this is not just like this is not a zombie film. This is about love, and that's what Craig.
Yeah, it's a people show, man. It's a love show. That's exactly what it is. And I originally, that episode was episode 4. We ended up combining 1 and 2, but just reading it. So I guess a year and a half ago, when I read it for the first time, I knew that was going to be a point in the show when we were going to surprise the people who thought they knew everything, and also take the show just so much deeper into the kind of the heart and souls of these characters, and by way of the experience of these just two people in love, really inform what it is to have bonds in our world, in the last universe, lasting bonds, and being able to receive others once you've already denied the world, but to choose to receive people again. And so I just found that episode, obviously the script, to be so beautiful, and I told Craig, I was like, man, this might be the one we submit to the Emmys, and it doesn't have any of the main characters in it. So
crazy, right?
Or it does, but very briefly. But yeah, it's a beautiful episode of television.
Now, we left Joel and Ellie standing on like the top of a valley, looking over a settlement. It was a lovely finale. I think, having played the game, I was kind of like, how the hell are they going to fit all of this into like one episode? Then I saw that it was like 43 minutes, 42 minutes. It's the shortest episode of the whole series.
Right.
It crammed so much in it. And I just want to ask you, before we talk about Tommy and before we talk about part 2, talk to me about where Joel's head's at because I think people will be quite conflicted who haven't played the game and seen how the journey continues for Joel, because it's one of the, it's almost like, you know, it's like the hypothetical Hitler as a baby question, isn't it? That you had when you were a teenager. It's that, right. What would you do in that situation? You can either save the planet or save one person. What do you think is going through his mind? Is he really that selfish, or is he just desperately in need of to fill the void left by Sarah?
Yeah, it's amazing. I mean, it's amazing that to have this discussion about that choice in the setting of the show, because, you know, when you're playing the game, you're equally as torn and
yeah, you really don't want to shoot the doctor. You can't. No, you can't not shoot the doctor, can you?
Right, you can't progress in the story without it. But and then even, you know, and we all know how that plays out, part 2. But it's just a matter of, you know, what she's kind of become his world over several months, and you know, what is the world without the one thing that matters, you know, and it's just and so, you know, he finally has opened up his heart again to love someone, and now they're telling him that the only way is to kill her, and to so it's just you know, it's really hard to say, because it's a selfish act, but it's also an act of love, and it's just people, we've seen that, you know, and I don't know, you know, who knows if there's a guarantee that it all works out. So it's a world that everyone has been living in for 20 years, and and as you see with Tommy and the people of Jackson, there's a way of living completely again, but it's only worth doing if you have all the people you love with you, and who would he be if he didn't try with all his heart and all his might to save this young girl, the surrogate daughter of his, person that he loves.
Is Tommy content? We last saw Tommy giving him a horse, kind of making amends and setting him off on his way. and leaving the door open for the both of them. Quite a different relationship from the game Tommy and Joel had in the series, right? It was a bit slightly less cantankerous, a bit less. It was easier to kind of kiss and make up in the TV series, wasn't it? It was pretty bitter in the game.
Well, in the game, it happens. It's happening really fast, and then Ellie runs away and sets you on another kind of mission to find her, rescue her, and bring her back. And I think that we condensed time in a way. We put Tommy a little further on his path, further along his path in terms of where we pick up his story. So there's a lot going on there, and in terms of forgiveness, and Tommy certainly has an open heart and a more forgiving heart, and I think they're so uncomfortable in that scenario. It's really about they both have secrets that they're not yet willing to share with each other, for fear that it of the pain it would cause, and it's really kind of terrible place to be, in that you have such joyous news in your heart that you want to share with the one person that shares your blood and the entire planet.
Yeah.
But to be fearful that it would hurt him just to tell him that about this event that makes you so happy, and so it's just a very complex relationship they have. I think Tommy still has a lot, not sure who's sitting in front of him. The guy, the big brother that he left, was somebody that he wouldn't be proud to call a friend, much less a brother. Just in terms of considering the horrible acts that they both have participated in the name of survival.
Yeah.
So it's just it's he wants to forgive, and he wants to know that Joel is, or he hopes to see a different man, somebody who has evolved and has healed, but he's not sure. He still maybe sees the smuggler in front of him, and there might be a little truth to Joel's suspicion that Tommy's keeping him at arm's length.
As a game fan, did you audition just for Tommy? Did you audition for multiple roles, or was Tommy the guy?
No, Tommy was the guy. He was my guy. The only one.
I mean, as a game player, you must have been pretty stoked to have got Tommy, because for people that haven't played the games, we saw Tommy 4 episodes, I think.
Yeah. Well, it was 3. It became in the game. I'm sorry. In the game.
In the TV series.
Oh, the TV. Yeah. No, it was 3 episodes that became 2 when we combined 1 and 2.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So, but your role becomes pretty intense in part 2. You must be really, as an actor, you must be really looking forward to getting your teeth into that.
Oh yeah. No, there's a lot on the plate for part 2, and I'm couldn't be more excited. I'm ready. I was ready a long time ago.
You're born ready.
I say all the time. No, I just say all the time that 1 and 2, upon my playing the games, they really are just one story. So. When prepping for this part, it wasn't a matter of prepping Tommy in part 1, prepping Tommy in part 2. It was really just you have to work with the sense of the whole arc, and I can't wait. I mean, you truly get to see him using his skill set, and reluctantly so, but still at a very high level, and that
absolutely,
and that's exciting, and there's a lot. For the sake of preserving the story for our people, for our friends who have not played the games, I try to keep it as possible. But there's he takes on a lot in terms of family and what his position in the family is, and
Yeah.
And yeah, I think that's probably the extent of what I could say about it.
You'll all have to go and hide for like a couple of weeks when maybe episodes 1 and 2 of the next series come out. You're gonna people are gonna go absolutely wild.
Yeah. But I hope Neil doesn't have a repeat of the scenario that happened upon the release of part 2. It's kind of it's scary to think that people react in such a strong way, but it's all done.
I think it's people take things very personally.
I think it's
people get invested very personally.
Right, and that's incredible on one hand and terrifying on the other.
And is that an acoustic guitar in the background? Are you getting ready for lots of acoustic guitar playing in part 2? There must it's pretty prevalent, isn't it?
Well, I think everybody knows who plays the game that Tommy can't play for shit, so. I don't know if I see the character, doing any concerts on screen, but I always bring her. That's Rosie. That's my guitar. It was a gift from Robert Rodriguez back about 10 years ago when I worked with him. And
Ace, very nice.
Yeah. And so
did he name it or did you name it?
I named it after Elizabeth Pena's character in La Bamba. Elizabeth Pena played my mother in the show Matador that I did with Robert.
Wow.
And Elizabeth Pena, of course, plays Rosie in La Bamba.
Oh my God.
And
that film La Bamba.
Yeah.
The film La Bamba ruined a date I was on.
Really?
I was
Took a date to La Bamba?
At the time. I was 13 at the time. The problem was it was marketed, and I was, as a young 13-year-old, I didn't understand the story of Richie Valens very well.
Right.
I knew that he died in an air crash, but the tagline of the movie, right? It said La Bamba, Richie Valens lives on. Right, that was the tagline. In the UK, that was the tagline for the movie. So I thought he didn't die in the movie. So I took this girl to watch this film, aged 13, to kind of go to the movies and watch it. And she was like, "Oh, I don't want to watch it if someone dies in it." I was like, "Don't worry, he died in real life, but he's fine in this. Look, Richie Valens lives on." And didn't understand the kind of, and obviously, yeah.
That's a great, up until that point, it's a really great date movie. It's if they just ended it,
it is
when he gave him a little bit of rattlesnake with La Bamba at the concert, then you would be there.
Yeah.
It's so funny you say that, man. It's just like I've always had an idea of doing a picture where, what if Richie lived, and
exactly. And Buddy Holly would be like maybe 90 now. Buddy and Richie, they'd just be like old guys.
Yeah, just to have just have him become this wildly successful rock star who goes into 100%. The 60s and gets really psychedelic, and it's just there's
Gabriel, that's what you need to do. There's multiverse is hot. The multiverse is hot in Hollywood now. There needs to be like a 1950s Americana music multiverse where like Fats Domino's kind of just hanging out with Buddy and
and I'm a big Buddy Holly guy, being from Texas myself.
What's on the horizon for you between now and part 2?
Yeah, well, we got. I got the privilege of working with Governor Schwarzenegger once again. He and I, of course, did Terminator: Dark Fate, and we teamed up with Skydance and made a show called Fubar for Netflix, which comes out May 25th.
Oh yes.
And so we'll be starting the press for that soon, and get the rollout going on that show. A couple of things on the cooker that can't really talk about, but yeah, please, everyone, once Last of Us is done next week and you suitably recover from all the emotional damage, you can jump on board Fubar and have a little fun.
Jump on board Fubar. You can watch Fubar one day, Succession the next.
There you go.
Keep HBO happy. Keep Netflix.
Perry Mason too. I like Perry Mason. That's a good program.
Perry Mason is good. Gabriel, thanks so much for your time, buddy.
Thank you,
really,
Jamie.
really appreciate it.
Of course.
Congratulations on such a wild success. And can't wait for part 2, even though I'm also really dreading it.
All right.
Amazing work.
Let's go.